Well, happy hump day to you. Chris Hare here, the world champion crypto cowboy. Going to talk to you about Zebec today. Didn't know a lot about it till I started researching it to do the video. Pretty interesting coin, but I'm going to break the TA down for you today. We're going to start all the way to an hourly chart and work all the way up to probably a daily and a weekly chart if we have enough information. But you're going to want to stick around for all that. You're not going to want to miss it. It's a lot of information, and I think you'll find it valuable. We'll start off today with the crypto fear and greed index currently at 14. We came down a little bit. We were at 16 the other day, but we're not as low as we have been, and that was around 9 back a few days ago at the bottom of that big dump. This measures market sentiment. It tells us if people are scared, if they're greedy, what in the world's going on, and right now people are scared to death. What we need to see is this thing get back up into greed. Then we know we're making money. I use this to make small spot purchases when we drop into fear. Every time we drop into fear, I buy a little more. When it gets down into extreme fear, I buy just a little heavier. Then it's not leveraged, so I sit on it, forget about it, don't worry about it anymore. Eventually it comes back into greed, and that's when I sell it off, and it's a strategy that's worked pretty well for me in the past. But I'll go ahead and show you a BitUnex exchange chart. You can see I did some small amounts just to show you guys. Got about $90 in Solana and Ethereum. They're down about 6 and 8% respectively. And I bought Bitcoin below 90,000 because I think that's what you should do. And we're down about 2% on it. But if you need a good exchange to trade on, BitUnex is a great one. You'll find a link to that in my description. You get cash back on your first time deposit, and you'll also get better trading fees. That's what I understand. But we'll go out to a liquidation heat map on ZBCN. This is what market makers use to track your liquidity. They don't really care about TA. They move the chart by chasing after liquidation points. Everything above price action is a short trade. Everything below price action is a long trade. And you can see there's a pile of liquidations on the long side. Cumulatively, we've got about 89 million to the top side. Long trades, guys, we've got about 450 million. So there's a clear imbalance. There's a super bright pocket here around 03. That's going to probably work as a magnet to the price action. There's another one here at about 32. I would think you'd probably drop down there, but we'll get into the charts. We'll figure all that out. I'll tell you exactly what I think's going on, and we'll go from there. You can find these charts in the crypto school. I post a link to that in my description. Great place to come and hang out if you want to learn to trade, if you want to learn just to invest. It's an absolute amazing place to get started. Room full of great people. Nobody's ever going to make you feel stupid, and an absolute amazing lineup of coaches. They're the ones that turned me on to Zebec, actually. But we'll start off with the hourly chart here. You can see we ran up all the way to the daily 50 moving averages. That's at about 36. And then we rejected off of it pretty hard. We tried to come up and reclaim it. Couldn't do it, about 34, so we're headed back down. The 50 moving averages sit at about 32 to about 31.5. That takes 50 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart, works as excellent support and resistance. You can see we've got some fair value gaps down here, so I'm kind of bullish on this still, even though I think it just needs to make a retracement here. What I think you'll probably do is come on down here to about 228, 280, and then maybe drop down to about 251. The weekly 50 smooth moving average sits right here at about 28. So I think that might be a really strong point of support. You've got a fair value gap here. There's just a lot of things that line up that make me think you're probably going to bounce right about here. It's going to be contingent upon what Bitcoin does. When Bitcoin goes up, alts go up. When Bitcoin pulls back, alts absolutely bleed. So if Bitcoin decides it wants to dump tomorrow, I think you come on down to these lower zones, maybe just down to this bullish order block at around 228. I would be hesitant to call lower until I saw what was actually going on. Moving out to the 4-hour chart, we'll get a better understanding of what's going on in a bigger time frame. You can see we rejected off the 200 smooth moving average. That takes 200 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart, works as excellent support and resistance. We rejected right off of it. That's the daily 50 also. Your 4-hour golden zone sits right here from about 345 to 317. It looks like we went down to the bottom. We came up. We're trying to reclaim it now. If you can reclaim it, get above the daily 50s here. I think your next stop is 426 to 484 with a possibility to go to 651. Something happens, you lose these 4-hour 50 moving averages. You head to the 4-hour retracement zone right here around 277 to 249. If you lose that, you're going to go on down to 0.16 to about 11.4. Moving out to the daily chart, we'll get a better understanding of what's going on in the macro. It looks like it's had a pretty good run since about September when everything was crashing. This thing kind of just took off. Actually, that was last year. But you can see we had a big run all the way into May, and then we've been selling off ever since. What I do like is this is kind of a bull flag. Those things are bullish. You usually break to the upside. And what you can see is we came down all the way from below the 200 smooth moving average. That's bullish. You've got a daily fair value gap down here. You've reclaimed this daily retracement. So that makes me think there's probably a little more upside. What it may do is it may just reject off of this, come down and retest about 309, and then work its way up. Gets above the daily 50 MA, gets a good retest. I think you're headed up. 506 to 595. If you can clear this, if Bitcoin sets a higher high, this probably will too. About 0.85 to about 103.6. So that's almost a penny. That's a pretty big move from where you are right now. If you reject, I think you come down to this bearish fair value gap right around, 0.0154. I don't want to talk about that right now. It looks like it's trying to put in some bullish moves. It went down and filled out about 80% of that wick from the Flash Friday. That's a good sign because market makers like to fill about 50% of those out. So I think you've got some upside in store. I don't think we need to talk about a lot of downside in the near term, but in the longer term, you're probably going to want to pay attention to that and see what happens. I set alerts on these. I'll come back and retest. I'll come back and update this video later on as soon as we hit some kind of key support or resistance, and I'll just kind of keep you in the loop. But let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you think about my TA. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification. You'll get updates as soon as we upload a video. And don't forget to leave us a comment. Tell me what you think about it. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? I love hearing from you guys. I love a good conversation about it because maybe you see something that I don't. But I'm going to wrap this up. We got an ICP video coming later on today, and then I'll circle back this evening, do another Bitcoin video just like we do every single night. My name's Chris Hare, the World Champion Crypto Cowboy. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you down the road.